Panic seized me, cold and sharp, digging its claws into my chest. My fingers, usually steady holding a brush or charcoal stick, fumbled wildly inside the heavy, worn portfolio case. It was empty. The smooth, cool leather felt alien, confirming the horrifying truth. Gone. My lifeline to a future I'd fought tooth and nail for the prestigious Conservatory for Visual Arts program in Paris had vanished. My meticulously curated collection of work, the physical embodiment of 20 years of dreaming, learning, and creating, the collection that had earned me a full, life-changing scholarship worth an estimated $250,000, was simply not there. I had mere hours before my flight to Charles de Gaulle. This portfolio, along with a crucial physical recommendation letter from my high school art teacher, was required for my final check-in with the conservatory upon arrival. Without it, everything, the scholarship, the place, the dream, was in jeopardy. A soft tap echoed from my doorway, followed by a saccharine voice that always set my teeth on edge. "Looking for something, Maya?" My sister, Scarlett, leaned there, a picture of effortless grace and manufactured concern. Her perfect hair was arranged in artful waves, catching the late afternoon light that streamed through my window. She wore one of her sensible, pastel sweaters, something practical, just like her dreams. I'm Maya. And for 20 years, I've been the quiet, artistic one, the one who didn't fit into the neat, practical, marketable mold my parents, Carol and Robert, preferred. While Scarlett excelled in everything deemed acceptable by their standards, cheerleading captain, class president, now charting a safe course toward a marketing degree at a local university. I spent my time sketching in worn notebooks, painting late into the night, dreaming in colors and forms that felt more real to me than the beige walls of our suburban house. This scholarship, this chance at the conservatory, was more than just an opportunity. It was my declaration of independence. It was my proof that my dreams weren't just hobbies or phases. It was my future, solid and vibrant. And now it felt like someone had ripped the canvas right out of my hands, tearing it to shreds. "Have you seen my portfolio, Scarlett?" I asked, trying to keep the tremor from my voice, my eyes still darting around the room, searching under furniture, through closets, anywhere it could possibly be. I'd put it right here, by my desk, just last night. I'd triple-checked it before going to bed, the weight of it a comforting promise of the journey ahead. Scarlett sauntered into my room, picking up a discarded charcoal stick from my desk and turning it idly in her fingers, smudging the tip against her thumb. "Huh, your big art case. No, can't say I have. Are you sure you didn't just forget where you put it? You know how scatterbrained you get when you're deep in one of your art moods." Scatterbrained. This wasn't an art mood. This was the culmination of years of relentless work, countless sleepless nights, and resisting every subtle and not so subtle push towards a more sensible path. This was everything. "Mom," I called out again, louder this time, the tremor breaking through. "Have you seen my art portfolio? The one for Paris?" Carol's voice drifted up from downstairs, layered with that familiar weariness and veiled exasperation that always felt like a damp blanket smothering my ambitions. "Honey, are you sure you didn't just misplace it? You know how you are. Maybe you accidentally left it in the garage after that final touch-up." The garage, where my submission for the regional art fair mysteriously got paint spilled on it the night before the deadline. A spill that rendered it unsalvageable, forcing me to submit something far less impactful. A spill that happened right after Scarlett had been helping me organize my supplies. Or the time the special, acid-free framing supplies for my high school exhibition were somehow, accidentally, switched with cheap, damaging materials, ruining the matting on several pieces. Scarlett had been doing laundry right before she helped me in the workshop. We both knew those weren't accidents. And neither was this. Scarlett gave a delicate sigh, letting the charcoal stick drop back onto my desk. "Maybe it's a sign, Maya. Like, maybe art isn't meant to be your path. Think about it, getting a scholarship worth $250,000 for art. It just doesn't sound practical. Marketing is so much more stable. Like my internship. You should get a practical degree like business, or maybe accounting." I glared at her, my jaw clenching. The acceptance letter, tucked safely in a separate, unremarkable envelope in a drawer, seemed to mock her words. Selected from thousands of applicants worldwide. A full ride covering tuition, housing, and a stipend, that $250,000 over 4 years. It was real. It was happening. Or it was happening. "I got in fair and square, Scarlett," I said, my voice low. "My portfolio was right here, Why can't you just be happy for me for once? Oh, I am happy for you, Maya, she insisted, stepping further into the room, her voice dripping with feigned sincerity. I just worry, a program like that so far away, it's a lot for someone like you. You're just so unlucky. The word hung in the air, a subtle poison. Unlucky. Or perhaps just a convenient target for someone determined to keep me grounded. Maya, Robert's voice boomed from downstairs, cutting through the tense air. Family discussion. Now. I followed Scarlett down to the living room, the familiar weight of expectations settling onto my shoulders. Carol and Robert sat on the couch, side by side, looking less like parents and more like judges about to deliver a verdict. Scarlett perched beside Mom, adopting an expression of wide-eyed, innocent concern that I knew was carefully rehearsed. We need to talk about this conservatory idea, Maya, Dad began, his tone measured, resonating with the unquestionable authority he always assumed in these moments. There's nothing to talk about, I replied, choosing to stand rather than sink into the soft, submissive cushions of the armchair. I earned this. My portfolio is just misplaced, I'll find it. Be realistic, Maya, Mom said gently, but her eyes held that familiar dismissal, that inability or refusal to see my passion as anything other than a childish hobby. An art degree, it's so impractical. The job market. Robert, isn't that internship at the accounting firm still looking for candidates? Dad nodded gravely. See, Maya, something with real prospects. Maybe this, losing your portfolio, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. You're not ready for something like this. Paris is a big city, far away, you're not exactly independent material. Scarlett sniffled delicately, dabbing at the corner of her eye with a perfectly manicured finger. She's just upset because I got that internship at the marketing firm, you know, a real job path. She always has to make a scene, trying to take attention away. Now she's making up stories about a missing portfolio to get sympathy. Her voice trembled convincingly. I'm not making anything up, I protested, but even as I said it, I watched Mom pull Scarlett into a hug, murmuring comforting words, shooting me that look over Scarlett's shoulder. The look that said I was being difficult, causing problems, hurting my poor, sensitive sister. Maya, Mom said, her voice hardening slightly, pulling away from Scarlett but keeping an arm around her shoulders. Sometimes things don't work out for a reason. Maybe this isn't God's plan for you. Remember what Pastor Miller said about contentment. Contentment. Their version of contentment meant accepting the small life they envisioned for me, one where I didn't rock the boat, didn't challenge their idea of what success looked like, and certainly didn't outshine Scarlett. Something inside me clicked. Not a violent break, but a quiet, resolute turning of a lock. A door closing on the part of me that still yearned for their approval, for their understanding. You're right, I said, my voice surprising them all with its sudden calm. Maybe I do need some time alone, to think, to process everything. Dad smiled, visibly relieved that I seemed to be backing down, becoming reasonable again. That's my girl, he said, leaning back on the couch. Of course, sweetheart, Mom added, her tone softening. Go on up. I'll bring you some tea later. Back in my room, I closed the door and leaned against it for a moment, taking a deep, shaky breath. My hands weren't shaking anymore. The cold panic had been replaced by a steely resolve. I pulled out my phone and found Liam's contact. Liam, my oldest friend, the one who always saw my art as more than just a hobby, who encouraged my dreams even when no one else did. He knew about the conservatory, about the scholarship, about my family's dynamic. Plan B is a go, I typed. Portfolio and letter gone, she took them. His response was instant. Knew it. Digital backups and Sophia notified. Train ticket confirmed. You sure? I glanced out my window, across the perfectly manicured lawn to Scarlett's room. She was already on FaceTime, her animated gestures and wide eyes telling me she was likely recounting the dramatic tale of my misplacement and her concern, solidifying her position as the stable, sensible daughter dealing with her problematic artist sister. She caught my eye through the glass and with a flourish, blew me a kiss, a triumphant smirk playing on her lips. I thought about the regional art fair piece ruined by spilled paint, the sabotaged framing supplies, the countless times my achievements, however small, were minimized or ignored, while Scarlett's every minor accomplishment was celebrated like a national holiday. The way they subtly undermined my confidence, telling me my head was in the clouds, that I needed to be more grounded, more practical. They thought they had me figured out, the quiet, compliant eldest daughter who would eventually give up on her unrealistic dreams and settle for a safe, ordinary life in their shadow. They had no idea the digital fortress I had built, the allies I had quietly cultivated. Absolutely sure, I texted back, my fingers flying across the screen with newfound certainty. See you at the station at 3 a.m. I heard Mom's footsteps on the stairs, coming with the promised tea. Time to play my part one last time. Let them think they had won this round. They would soon learn that some dreams can't be destroyed, and that underestimating me was their biggest mistake. I wiped my face quickly, preparing to look appropriately devastated when Mom knocked. Let them believe their narrative. In less than 7 hours, they would realize how wrong they were about everything, especially about me. Mom's tea sat untouched on my nightstand, growing cold, while I lay on my bed, feigning sobs into my pillow. Through the wall, I could hear Scarlett's performative phone conversation. I just feel so bad for her, she was saying, her voice trembling with theatrical pity. She's always been, fragile. It's probably for the best, honestly. Paris is just too much for her right now. Fragile. That was their favorite word for my passion, my sensitivity, anything that didn't fit their mold. I checked my phone. 9:47 p.m. time to set the next phase in motion. I walked downstairs, making sure my footsteps sounded slow, heavy with manufactured despair. Mom and Dad were in their usual spots, Dad in his recliner, Mom on the couch with her devotional book open. They exchanged that look they always shared when dealing with my episodes, a mixture of weary patience and thinly veiled judgment. Of course, sweetheart, Mom patted the cushion beside her. We've been so worried about you. Did you find your portfolio? I sat down, clutching my phone like a lifeline. I need to know if you've seen it, the one I lost a few months ago. Dad's head snapped up. Months ago. What do you mean months ago? I let my voice waver just enough. Oh, I guess I never mentioned it. I lost a copy back in March, right after I got the acceptance letter. I was so embarrassed. I thought I could recreate it, but Mom's face tightened. March, but you just told us about this Paris thing last week, and the acceptance letter came just before that. Actually, I pulled up the email on my phone, my hands steady now. I got the official acceptance and scholarship details in February. I just didn't know how to tell you. I knew. You've been lying to us, Dad stood up, his face darkening. For months. Like how you're lying about taking my portfolio now. I shot back, standing up to face them. Scarlett appeared in the doorway, right on cue, drawn by the rising tension. How dare you accuse them? She cried, stepping into the room. Mom, Dad, she's just trying to blame everyone else for her mistakes. Again. Just like the art fair, or the framing, it's always someone else's fault with Maya. I'm not stupid, I said, my voice calm but firm. You've been sabotaging me for years, Scarlett. The art fair submission. I saw you in the workshop right before the spill. The framing supplies, you were the only one near them. You're being ridiculous. Scarlett's eyes filled with tears, real or fake, I no longer cared. Mom, make her stop. Maya, Mom's voice turned sharp, the gentleness gone. Apologize to your sister right now. No, the word came out calmly, certainly. I'm done apologizing for existing. I'm done pretending not to see what you're doing, all of you. That's enough, Dad slammed his hand on the coffee table, making the decorative coasters jump. Go to your room, Maya, until you can show some respect. I turned to leave, then paused. You know what's funny? I turned back to face them, a small, cold smile playing on my lips. When I lost that copy of my portfolio back in March, the anxiety attack it gave me made me rethink things, made me realize how vulnerable my work was. So I spent weeks digitally scanning everything. Every sketch, every painting, every detailed note on technique and inspiration. I created a full, professional digital portfolio. The silence in the room was deafening. Scarlett's feigned tears stopped. Mom's face went pale. I also sent a digital copy of Miss Albright's recommendation letter to the conservatory liaison back in April, just in case the physical one got misplaced. I continued, my voice steady. Took a lot of extra emails, but Sophia was very understanding. Dad's eyes narrowed. If you have a digital portfolio, and they have the letter, then I don't need the physical copies you took, I finished for him. I don't need your approval, and I definitely don't need your dismissive advice. You wanted practicality. A digital portfolio is the most practical backup an artist can have in the 21st century. Worth every penny of the $250,000 scholarship it secured. You ungrateful little, Scarlett lunged forward, but Mom caught her arm, holding her back. Maya, Mom's voice trembled with forced calm, trying to regain control. If you're planning something foolish. Like what? I cut her off. Following my dreams, achieving something on my own, or did you mean foolish like stealing your daughter's work and lying about it? I never, Scarlett started, but I didn't let her finish. Save it. I don't need the portfolio you took, I don't need your approval. And I definitely don't need your prayers for my scattered mind. I'm leaving. On the 3 a.m. train, to Paris. I headed for the stairs, my back straight. We only want what's best for you. Mom called after me, a desperate edge to her voice. I paused at the foot of the stairs, turning back one last time. No, I said, my voice quiet but carrying the weight of years of unspoken resentment. You want what's easiest for you, there's a difference. Back in my room, I locked the door. I didn't bother pretending anymore. I pulled out my laptop and messaged Liam. Confrontation done. They know about the digital backup. Train at 3 a.m. confirmed. Everything set, his reply came back quickly. You okay? I thought about the years of gaslighting, of being told I was overreacting, imagining things being difficult. I thought about Scarlett's innocent act, Mom's subtle manipulation, Dad's dismissive practicality. They had finally shown their true colors, revealed the rot beneath the perfect family facade. Better than okay, I typed back. They finally showed their cards, and I had the winning hand all along. My phone buzzed with texts from Scarlett. You're making a huge mistake. Mom and Dad are really upset. Why do you always have to ruin everything? Please don't do this to our family. The messages were a frantic mix of guilt-tripping and accusations. I blocked her number. Through the wall, I could hear her having a full-blown meltdown, the golden child's carefully constructed world cracking under pressure. Mom and Dad were rushing to console her, no doubt reinforcing their shared narrative of my rebellion. I checked my hidden backpack one last time. Essential documents, laptop with the precious digital portfolio files, a printed copy of the conservatory acceptance letter and Sophia's contact info, a small stash of cash Liam had insisted I take, and the train ticket. In less than 7 hours, I'd be on my way to the station. Let them think they'd won tonight. Let them believe their perfect family portrait was still intact, minus the problematic artist's daughter. Tomorrow would change everything. I set my alarm for 2:30 a.m. and lay down, not even trying to sleep. The time for being the quiet, understanding daughter, the one who accepted her place in the background, was over. Tomorrow, they'd learn what happens when you push someone too far, when you try to dim a light that was meant to shine brightly. And I couldn't wait. The house was silent at 2:45 a.m. when I slipped out of bed, already fully dressed in dark, comfortable clothes. I'd barely slept, but adrenaline hummed through my veins, keeping me sharp and focused. I retrieved my hidden backpack from the small crawl space behind my closet, a space I'd claimed as my own secret sanctuary years ago. My phone vibrated softly against my leg. Liam, outside in 5, you ready? I took one last look around my room. 20 years of memories, most of them tinged with the frustration of being misunderstood, the pain of subtle betrayal. The motivational posters Scarlett had put up for me, subtly mocking my dreams. The desk where I'd spent countless hours pouring my soul onto paper and canvas, dreaming of escape. On my pillow, I left the note. My path is my own, don't follow. The fifth stair from the bottom always creaked like a protesting old ship. So I stepped over it carefully, the silence of the house feeling both oppressive and complicit. In the kitchen, the faint smell of coffee grounds hinted at the automatic timer Dad set for his morning brew, a ritual of their predictable, ordered life. The pot would burble quietly in a few hours, keeping the secret of my departure. A floorboard creaked upstairs. I froze, my heart hammering against my ribs. Another creak, closer this time, followed by soft, sleepy footsteps. Someone was awake. I ducked behind the pantry door, the wood cool against my cheek, just as Scarlett appeared at the top of the stairs. She was heading to the bathroom, her eyes half closed with sleep, probably disturbed by a nightmare or just her own restless anxiety. I held my breath, counting silently, until I heard the bathroom door click shut. My phone buzzed again. Here, any minute now. I crept to the back door, the one that led through the small laundry room and out to the yard. Turning the deadbolt lock millimeter by painstaking millimeter, hoping to silence its inevitable click. The hinges, however, had other plans. They groaned like ancient spirits, protesting my departure, announcing it to the whole sleeping house. The bathroom door opened upstairs. Maya. Is that you? Scarlett's voice, now wide awake and sharp with suspicion, cut through the silence. I didn't answer. Instead, I yanked the door open and bolted, the cool night air hitting my face. Mom, Dad. She's leaving, Scarlett screamed, her voice echoing behind me. Liam's dark sedan idled at the curb, headlights off, a beacon of freedom in the dim pre-dawn light. I sprinted across the damp lawn, the grass cool under my bare feet. Lights flicked on upstairs. Maya Grace Evans, don't you dare. Dad's voice boomed from their bedroom window, a roar of outrage and disbelief. I threw myself into the passenger seat, slamming the door shut. Go, go, go! Liam floored it, the car lurching forward just as Mom and Dad burst through the back door in their bathrobes, silhouetted against the sudden rectangle of light. In the rearview mirror, I watched Dad run a few steps down the driveway before stopping, realizing he was barefoot, shaking a fist at the rapidly disappearing car. Holy cow, Liam breathed, taking a corner a little too fast. That was intense. Keep driving, I said, my heart still pounding like a drum solo. They might follow us. Already planned for that, he said, glancing at me. He took 3 seemingly random turns down quiet suburban streets, then pulled into the brightly lit parking lot of a 24-hour grocery store. My sister's car is parked here. We'll switch. They won't be looking for a beat-up Honda Civic. As we quickly transferred my backpack and a small duffel bag, my phone, which I'd turned back on the moment we pulled away, exploded with notifications. Missed calls, angry texts. Mom. Come home right now, young lady. Dad, you're making a terrible mistake. Think about what you're throwing away. Scarlett, I can't believe you'd hurt our family like this, after everything. Mom. We're calling the police if you don't respond in 10 minutes. Dad, your mother is crying. You're breaking her heart. Scarlett, everyone will know what you did to us. I stared at the screen for a moment, the words blurring together. It wasn't concern I saw, it was control. It was the frantic realization that their carefully managed narrative was unraveling. I turned my phone off again. You okay? Liam asked, his sister's Civic pulling onto the highway towards the distant glint of city lights. Better than okay, I said, watching the eastern sky begin to soften from black to bruised purple, then pale pink. I'm free. We made it to the train station just in time for the 3 a.m. express. Liam insisted on walking me to the boarding gate. You sure about this? He asked again, his expression serious. Once you go through there, there's no easy way back. I hugged him tight, the reality of it hitting me fully. Leaving everything behind, but also leaving everything behind. I've never been more sure of anything in my life, I told him, pulling back. Thank you, Liam, for everything, for seeing me, for helping me fly. He gave me a rare, genuine smile. Just promise me you'll actually create some amazing art in Paris instead of plotting revenge the whole time. Why not both? I grinned, shouldering my backpack. Going through the gate felt surreal, like stepping across a threshold into another dimension. Each step took me further from their control, their manipulation, their suffocating version of love and practicality. The conductor scanned my ticket, the machine didn't blink, and I was on the train, watching the station lights shrink as we pulled away. At my seat, tucked away from the few other early morning travelers, I finally turned my phone back on. Hundreds of messages, dozens of missed calls. But what caught my eye was Scarlett's latest social media post. A sad, blurry selfie of her looking forlorn in my now empty bedroom. The caption read, Sister's night in. Some people just don't understand that family comes first. Praying for those who choose to abandon the ones who love them most. Folded hands. The comments were already rolling in. You're such a good sister, Scarlett. She doesn't deserve you. Praying for your family during this difficult time. The usual chorus of enablers and the easily fooled. I smiled. And then, I opened my own art-focused social media account, unused for months since I'd been focusing on the application. I posted a single photo. A detailed shot of my favorite piece from the digital portfolio. A vibrant, chaotic abstract representing breaking free, along with a screenshot of my train ticket confirmation. The caption was simple. Some people don't understand that freedom comes first. Paris bound. $250,000 scholarship waiting. Let the creating begin. Then I turned off my phone, tucked it away, and watched through the window as the dark landscape blurred into streaks of gray and pre-dawn light. Paris hit me like a vibrant watercolor, beautiful, overwhelming, bursting with life and color. Nothing like the muted tones of the sheltered, controlled life I'd left behind. Standing outside the train station, suitcase beside me, I finally turned my phone back on. The messages had evolved from angry threats to frantic bargaining. Mom, Maya, please just let us know you're safe. We're so worried. Dad. We can work this out, Maya. As a family, just call us. Scarlett, you're being so selfish. Mom hasn't stopped crying. A new text popped up from an unknown number. Hi Maya, I'm Sophia from the conservatory, your assigned mentor. Look for the red scarf near the main exit. Welcome to Paris. I spotted her immediately. Tall, with kind eyes and an easy smile, wearing a bright red scarf around her neck like a banner. You must be our American artist on the run, she said, pulling me into an unexpected, warm hug that felt more genuine than any I'd received in years. The admissions team told me about your situation. Don't worry, the art world is used to navigating complicated backstories and finding creative solutions. We're just glad you're here. Your digital portfolio was remarkable, truly something special. It convinced the board completely. She gestured towards a waiting car. Come on, let's get you settled. The conservatory residence was a converted monastery, all ancient stone and ivy-covered walls, nestled in a quiet, artsy district. My small room overlooked a courtyard where students from around the world sat discussing art, philosophy, and life in multiple languages. It felt like stepping into a dream I had painted myself. Orientation starts in an hour, Sophia said, helping me with my bags. Fair warning, they don't ease you in. Your first assignment is a solo project presentation to the faculty this afternoon. They want to see your process, your vision, how you articulate your work. I must have looked terrified because she laughed, a warm, reassuring sound. Relax. Based on your digital portfolio and Miss Albright's letter, you're more than ready. They're excited to see you in action. The orientation room was packed with students, faculty, and even a few visiting artists and critics. I found a seat near the front, trying to look like I belonged, like I wasn't just a girl who had fled her life hours ago. Today's first presenter, the program director announced, is a last-minute addition we are incredibly excited about. Maya Evans from my hometown will share her initial thoughts on the intersection of personal narrative and abstract expression. My heart stopped. What? Sophia, seated beside me, nudged my arm and whispered, surprise, I recommended you. Your application essay spoke volumes and your digital portfolio confirmed it. Show them what you've got. Walking to the podium felt like walking onto a stage where I finally belonged, a stage I had been preparing for my entire life, even when I didn't know it. I thought of Scarlett sabotaging my art fair submission, my parents dismissing my dreams, telling me my passion was impractical. Not this time. I took a deep breath, the scent of turpentine and canvas faint in the air, and began. My work explores themes of constraint and liberation, I started, my voice gaining strength with each word. How the confines placed upon us, sometimes by the very people who claim to love us, can paradoxically become the boundaries we must push against to find our true form. For 20 minutes, I talked about my process, my inspirations, how I used color and form to express the tension between expectation and authenticity. I showed slides of the digital portfolio, the pieces that represented my struggle and my breaking free. Questions flew from the audience, and I answered them, articulating the meaning behind my art with a clarity that surprised even myself. Afterwards, Sophia introduced me to everyone who mattered, the heads of departments, visiting curators, renowned artists. Maya's articulation of her process is as compelling as her work, she told one prominent critic. She has a unique voice. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I glanced at it discreetly. A local news website from back home had picked up on the story, likely fueled by gossip. Local students' sudden, dramatic departure for prestigious Paris Conservatory raises eyebrows amid whispers of family discord. The comment section was a mess, a war between those who knew my family from town or church and those who saw the headline and smelled drama. I know that family. Something's not right there. She just abandoned her loving family. Good for her for escaping. What kind of sister? Then I saw Scarlett's latest post, a tearful video, live-streamed from what looked like my now-empty room, talking about my unexplained departure and praying for healing for those who choose to abandon the ones who love them most. But the comments were less sympathetic this time. Didn't your sister just get into some huge art program? Why would anyone leave a $250,000 scholarship behind unless something was seriously wrong? Maybe there's a reason she ran off. Seems a bit theatrical, Scarlett. Sophia peered over my shoulder. Your sister, the golden girl, she asked gently. Or she was, I replied, a small, sad smile playing on my lips. Well, Sophia smiled back, a hint of steel in her eyes. She's about to be completely overshadowed. The conservatory is getting a lot of buzz about you. They want to feature you in their upcoming international showcase promotional video. Filming starts next week. My hands trembled slightly as the full weight of this sunk in. Back home, they would be forced to watch me succeed. No more hiding my achievements, no more minimizing my talent. No more pretending I was the problem, the one holding the family back with my impractical dreams. My success would be undeniable, public. That night, I sat in the courtyard with other scholars, sharing cheap wine and crusty bread, talking about art, life, and the families we came from. For the first time, I felt truly seen, understood, and valued for who I was, not for who they wanted me to be. My phone lit up with a news alert from a major art publication. Emerging Artist Spotlight Award nominee announced. Maya Evans from my hometown, selected for innovative mixed media work. Sophia appeared at the edge of the courtyard with a bottle of champagne, her face beaming. Congratulations, Maya, though you might want to check your email first. The conservatory director had written, inviting me to give a talk at the award ceremony next month, where international press would be present. The award included a $100,000 grant to fund future projects. I imagined Scarlett's face when she saw the news. Mom and Dad trying to explain to their church friends why they never mentioned their daughter's artistic achievements or the $250,000 scholarship, let alone the $100,000 award. Their perfect facade was starting to show cracks. You're smiling, Sophia observed, pouring champagne into plastic cups. Thinking about home, I admitted. Thinking about justice. She clinked her plastic cup against mine. To justice, then, and to the family we choose. Under the Parisian stars, surrounded by people who celebrated instead of suppressed me, I felt something profound shift within me. This wasn't just about revenge anymore, although that was undeniably sweet. It was about becoming the artist, the person I was always meant to be, unbound by their limitations. My phone buzzed one last time, a text from Dad. We saw the news. We need to talk. Call us when you have a moment. I turned off my phone and rejoined the group. Someone was proposing a midnight walk to see the Eiffel Tower sparkle. Let them squirm. Let them wonder. Let them watch. I was done hiding my light. And now, it was about to become very, very bright. And now, our special segment on emerging global talent. The news anchor's voice filled my family's living room back in my hometown. Through Liam's discreet group chat updates, he'd managed to place friends in various local information streams. I could picture the scene perfectly. Mom dropping her coffee mug onto the pristine rug. Dad frozen in his recliner, the remote slipping from his grasp. Scarlett's perfectly curated mask cracking, then shattering, as my face appeared on their television screen. Maya Evans from my hometown has been named this year's recipient of the prestigious Emerging Artist Spotlight Award. The anchor continued. Her groundbreaking mixed media work, exploring themes of authenticity and liberation, has caught the attention of art critics and curators worldwide. Miss Evans, who recently began studies at the Conservatory for Visual Arts in Paris on a full $250,000 scholarship, was recognized tonight with an additional $100,000 grant for future projects. The camera cut to my interview segment, filmed in a vibrant, graffiti-covered alley near the conservatory, a stark contrast to the polished perfection my parents valued. I had worn a bold, unapologetic red dress, a color I rarely wore back home because Scarlett claimed it was her color, just to twist the knife a little. Success isn't about proving others wrong, I said on screen, looking directly into the camera, imagining them watching. It's about proving yourself right. Sometimes the people closest to you, the ones who claim to love you most, can't see your potential, or perhaps they're afraid of it. That doesn't make it any less real. You have to believe in your vision, even when they try to paint over it. Liam's text came seconds later. Holy moly, your sister just ran out of the room screaming. Your mom is trying to call the local station to correct some misinformation. The local Facebook groups are exploding. I watched it unfold through social media and Liam's reports. Isn't that Robert and Carol Evans' daughter? The quiet one. Their church always made it sound like she was troubled, needed guidance. My kid goes to school with her sister Scarlett. There were rumors about the art stuff. Scarlett's carefully constructed image was unraveling in real time online. You said she wasn't going anywhere. Liam reported Scarlett screaming, her voice echoing through the house. You said she'd fail. Mom's damage control started immediately. A saccharine post in the church group. So proud of our Maya, we've always supported her artistic dreams. Proud mama. The comments were merciless. Wasn't this the daughter you said was finding herself and needing practical guidance last week? Pretty sure you told my wife she was lost last Sunday. Didn't your other daughter post about her abandoning the family? Dad tried calling again. Maya, please, your mother's reputation at church. This is causing a lot of talk. I let it go to voicemail. Scarlett's social media followers were jumping ship in droves. Her latest tearful video about family loyalty backfired spectacularly. Comments flooded in. Didn't you steal her portfolio? My cousin goes to your old school. Everyone knows what happened with the art projects. Maybe focus on your own achievements instead of tearing others down. She deleted the video within minutes, then her entire account. Sophia found me watching the chaos unfold from my small apartment balcony, overlooking the twinkling lights of Paris. I'd moved out of the conservatory residence into a tiny, affordable studio nearby, wanting my own space. Your phone's been buzzing nonstop for an hour, she said, handing me a glass of wine. Family drama meets digital justice, I said, showing her the local news website that had dug up my old academic records. Straight A's, regional art competition wins, debate team championships. Yes, I did debate, much to their confusion. All the achievements my family had minimized, ignored, or subtly sabotaged. Look at this, I showed her another report. Scarlett's marketing internship. They're reconsidering her position due to concerns about integrity and character. I hadn't planned that part, but karma, it seemed, had its own vibrant palette. And this, Sophia pointed to another notification. The conservatory's PR team had released my full schedule of upcoming speaking engagements and exhibitions. I'd be participating in a major group show in London next month. My phone lit up with a text from Mom. People are asking questions at church. Please call us. We can explain everything. We love you. Then Dad. This isn't very kind, Maya. You're hurting your mother. And finally, Scarlett. You've ruined everything. I hope you're happy. I was, profoundly, wonderfully happy. Sophia poured us more wine. To watching them squirm, she said. To living well, I corrected her. It really is the best revenge, but it's not why I did it. It's just a side effect. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Liam. You need to see this. He'd sent a video from outside my old house. News vans lined the street. A reporter was interviewing neighbors. They always favored the younger one, the normal one neighbor was saying. That poor girl, Maya, working so hard on her art while they just praised Scarlett for everything. Another added, heard the church is looking into their behavior. Robert and Carol were always putting on a show. Mom had locked herself inside. Dad wasn't taking calls. Scarlett's few remaining close friends were distancing themselves publicly online. Their perfect family facade wasn't just crumbling. It was being demolished brick by brick on live television and social media. And they had no one to blame but themselves. The conservatory wants you to expand your speaking tour, Sophia mentioned casually, scrolling through an email. They want you to talk about overcoming adversity, using your art as a voice. 3 more countries. All expenses paid. I thought about my family watching each appearance, unable to deny or diminish my success anymore. Every exhibition, every interview, every talk would be another crack in their carefully constructed narrative. When do we leave? I asked. Sophia grinned. That's my girl. Oh, and heads up. International press conference tomorrow. Any message you want to send back home? I looked out over the glittering lights of Paris, the city of lights that now felt like home. I thought of all the times they had told me to dream smaller, aim lower, stay in my place, be more practical, be less Maya. Just one, I said, pulling up the camera app on my phone. I took a photo of myself standing on the balcony, the Eiffel Tower sparkling in the distance behind me, a self-portrait of liberation. I posted it with a simple caption. Sometimes the artist of the family, the one who sees the world differently, is the only one who saw things clearly all along. Paris glow, sparkles. Let them choke on that, I muttered softly. The press conference room buzzed with energy. Cameras flashed, reporters jostled for position. Sophia stood beside me, offering quiet encouragement. Remember, you're not just a talented artist anymore. You're a symbol, a voice for anyone who's ever been told their dreams are too big or too impractical. Miss Evans, a reporter called out, microphone held high. Your work has caught the international art world's attention, particularly your recent pieces exploring themes of personal liberation. But there's also significant interest in your personal story, specifically the family situation that's gone viral back home. Would you care to comment? I leaned into the microphone, the cool metal a stark contrast to the warmth of Sophia's presence beside me. I thought of all the times I'd been silenced, dismissed, told my feelings and experiences weren't valid. My story, unfortunately, isn't unique, I began, my voice clear and steady. Many young people, particularly those with unconventional dreams or passions, face dynamics that suppress rather than support their ambitions. They're told their dreams are impractical, their talents aren't valuable, that they should choose a safer path. The difference is, I eventually refused to accept that suppression as love. Your sister recently posted claiming you're twisting the narrative for attention, that your family has always supported you. Another reporter pressed. What's your response to that? I think the evidence speaks for itself, I said calmly, and a large screen behind me lit up. Here is my academic record, showing consistent high achievement in all subjects, not just art. Here is documentation related to previous instances where my work and supplies were tampered with before important deadlines. I didn't name names explicitly, but the implication was clear, especially with the context already public. I didn't create this narrative, I concluded. I just stopped hiding my truth. The room erupted with questions. Through the live stream comments section, which I could see projected on a small screen for my reference, I saw my hometown reacting in real time. Gasps, furious denials from a few, and a flood of validation from others. Sources say your parents are claiming they always supported your dreams, a reporter followed up. Yet we have multiple individuals from your community stating otherwise, speaking of a clear preference for your sister and dismissal of your artistic pursuits. I have 20 years of receipts, I replied calmly, a small, knowing smile returning. Would you like to see them? Back home, Scarlett's carefully constructed world was imploding. Liam sent me clips from her latest youth group meeting. She was still trying to lead, trying to project her usual perfect image. How can you teach us about integrity, Scarlett? One teen challenged her, holding up their phone. Didn't you help steal your sister's portfolio? Another added, my mom says we need a new youth leader who's actually honest. She'd run out crying. For once, her tears weren't getting her what she wanted. Mom's desperate attempts at damage control only made things worse. She'd posted a long, rambling Facebook statement about supporting both her daughters equally until someone shared screenshots of her previous posts, minimizing my art achievements, cute little hobby, and praising Scarlett's. Scarlett aced her marketing exam. So proud of my smart, practical girl. The church board called an emergency meeting. Dad stopped showing up for his men's prayer breakfast. Their social standing, the foundation of their carefully built world, was crumbling. Breaking news, my phone alert chimed. Global Arts Initiative expands youth leadership program, names Maya Evans as program ambassador. Sophia nudged me, beaming. They're offering you a permanent position after graduation. Full diplomatic status within the arts sector. You'd be traveling the world, representing the initiative, working with young artists. I thought of all the times my parents had insisted I'd never succeed outside their protective, suffocating bubble, that art wasn't a real career. Now I was being offered a career they couldn't even comprehend, a life of global influence and purpose. One more question, a reporter called out. Your sister's recent video suggested you're punishing the family for leaving. Are you? No, I said firmly, looking directly at the camera. I'm succeeding. They're just not used to that. My journey is not about punishing them, it's about freeing myself. Any discomfort they experience is a consequence of their own actions, not my success. After the conference, Sophia showed me the latest stats. My story had gone beyond viral, it was becoming a movement. Meyer Evans and Digital Masterpiece were trending, as was Black Sheep Success. Young artists, writers, musicians, and other creatives from around the world were sharing their own stories of family dismissal and pursuing their passions despite opposition. Impractical is beautiful became a rallying cry. Check your email, Sophia said, grinning. The International Youth Creative Summit wants you as their keynote speaker. And the email from the Louvre Gallery. They're interested in a solo exhibition of your work next year. I opened my laptop to find hundreds of messages from young people sharing similar stories. My family tried to stop me from going to art school. They always favored my older brother who went into finance. You gave me courage to apply for that scholarship I thought was out of my reach. Then I saw it, an email thread titled Family Updates, created years ago by mom to share Scarlett's achievements with relatives. I'd never been mentioned. I clicked Reply All and attached a link to my press conference video. My response was simple and heartfelt, drawing on the words I'd used in my speech and internal reflections. To all, I wrote. For years, this thread shared a curated version of family updates. While I wish nothing but the best for everyone, I feel it's time to share a different perspective. My path has been one of constant creation, not just in art, but in building a life where my passion is celebrated, not suppressed. Sometimes love doesn't feel like love at all. Sometimes it feels like control, like suppression, like constant reminders to be less so someone else can be more. That's not love. That's something else, dressed up as protection. For anyone who has felt unseen, unheard, or told their dreams are too impractical, know that your vision is valid and your potential is limitless. The world needs your light. I hit send. Within minutes, relatives I hadn't heard from in years started responding. Maya, we had no idea. Your parents only ever talked about Scarlett's achievements. This explains so much. I always wondered why we never heard about your art, which was clearly so talented. Your speech was incredibly brave. Liam texted, your mom just left church in tears. The pastor's wife refused to sit with her. His next message. Scarlett got officially removed from the youth leadership program, citing personal reasons. He added, apparently, her marketing internship rescinded their offer too, after seeing all the local news coverage and social media blow up. I should have felt a triumphant surge of vindication. Instead, I felt light, free, like I could finally breathe without wondering if I was taking up too much air, if my existence was an inconvenience. Sophia appeared at my apartment door with a stack of papers. Ready to sign your contract. The Global Arts Initiative doesn't wait forever. As I signed the multi-year contract, securing my future and my ability to help other young artists, my phone lit up with one last message from Dad. We hope you find what you're looking for. No apology, no acknowledgement of the years of dismissal or the recent events, just distance wrapped in passive-aggressive concern. I picked up my phone and typed, I already found it. I found myself, the self you tried to bury with practicality and dismissal, and she's magnificent. Then I turned to Sophia, handing her the signed contract. When's our flight to London for that exhibition opening? Tomorrow morning, she smiled. The world's waiting. Let them watch from their small-town shadows. Let them see what happens when you try to dim someone's light. Let them read the headlines about the $250,000 scholarship, the $100,000 award, the global recognition. I was done hiding, done apologizing for my passion, and I was just getting started. 6 months passed, a whirlwind of creation, travel, exhibitions, and speaking engagements. Tonight was the culmination, the opening gala for my first major solo exhibition at the Louvre Gallery in Paris. The ballroom sparkled with diplomatic elegance as I adjusted the microphone. My exhibition, titled Unbound, featured new pieces exploring themes of liberation, authenticity, and chosen family. Ready? Sophia straightened the simple, striking navy blue gown I wore. Liam says your family is definitely watching the live stream. Apparently, they've gathered at your old house with a few remaining church elders to pray for your soul. I smiled, a genuine, peaceful smile. Let them pray. I'm done feeling guilty for their discomfort, for their inability to accept my success. The director of the Louvre Gallery took the stage, introducing me. Tonight's artist redefined what it means to overcome adversity and find one's voice. Please welcome Maya Evans. Walking to that podium, the spotlight warm on my face, I remembered every dismissive comment, every sabotaged opportunity, every time they had told me to be less, to be practical, to be more like Scarlett. Not tonight. Tonight I was fully, unapologetically Maya. Success stories usually start with, I had a dream, I began, my voice projected clearly through the vast room. Mine starts with, my portfolio was stolen the night before my flight to Paris, effectively attempting to derail a $250,000 scholarship. Gentle laughter rippled through the sophisticated crowd. We talk about toxic relationships in terms of outright cruelty, but rarely about toxic love. The kind that clips your wings while claiming to protect you. The kind that praises mediocrity in one child while punishing excellence or even just difference in another. The kind that values practicality over passion, stability over soul. In the audience, I spotted several renowned artists and curators leaning forward, nodding in understanding. My sister took my portfolio, intending to stop me from being here tonight. I continued, letting the weight of the truth settle. My parents supported her decision, framing it as being realistic, as me being not ready for such a big step. But here's what they never understood. Sometimes love doesn't feel like love at all. Sometimes it feels like a cage. The cameras panned across the captivated audience. They thought they were protecting me. In reality, they were protecting themselves from the discomfort of watching me outgrow their limitations, their expectations, their small-town narrative. My phone buzzed silently in the small clutch I carried. Liam's update. Your mom just left the room crying. Scarlett's trying to live stream a response, but her internet keeps cutting out. Probably karma. To every young person being told to dream smaller, I continued, my voice swelling with emotion, to accept less, to stay in their practical place. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Your potential is not a threat to anyone except those who want to control you. Your art, your passion, your unique way of seeing the world, that is your power. Embrace it. Sophia gave me a thumbs up from the side stage. Tonight, I accept this honor and the opportunity to exhibit my work in this incredible space, not just for myself, I said, my voice firm, but for every black sheep who refused to graze where they were told, for every scapegoat who decided to soar instead of suffer, for every artist told their dreams were just a phase, and for the worth of impractical, beautiful art. The applause started building, a tidal wave of sound. And to my family, I paused, letting the moment hang in the air, imagining them watching, their carefully constructed world shattered on a global stage. Watching from home, thank you. Your attempts to contain me only proved how much space I was meant to take up. Your fear of my light only showed how brightly it could shine. Standing ovation. Camera flashes. Tears in the audience. It was overwhelming, validating, and deeply cathartic. Later, at the reception, my phone exploded with notifications. Scarlett had finally managed to post her response video. My sister's speech was a cruel attack on our loving family, she sobbed, her face a tear-streaked mask of self-pity. We only wanted what was best. She's just trying to get attention. The comments cut her off almost immediately. Give it up, sis. Return the portfolio yet. Your act isn't working anymore. Karma's a canvas, isn't it? She deleted it within minutes. Sophia appeared with a group of UN officials involved in cultural programming. They want to expand the Global Arts Initiative Ambassador Program, she explained excitedly. Asia, Africa, South America, your story and your art are resonating globally. You're inspiring young people everywhere. My phone lit up with a text from Mom. We hope you find what you're looking for. The same message as before, still no apology, still no acknowledgement, still clinging to their passive-aggressive narrative. I handed my phone to Sophia. Block their numbers, I said. All of them. You sure? She asked, a hint of surprise in her voice. They're not watching to understand, I explained. They're watching to find weaknesses, to prove they were right about me all along, to find a way back into my life to regain control. I'm done performing for their approval. I'm done being defined by their fear. A reporter approached with one last question before I was swept away by well-wishers. Miss Evans, looking back on everything, what makes you most proud of your journey? I thought about the scared girl who had painstakingly scanned her artwork, who had trusted a friend and a stranger across the ocean, who had stood up to her family and fled in the middle of the night, the sister who had endured years of sabotage, the daughter who had been told her dreams were too big, too impractical, worth nothing more than a dismissive sigh. That I got here on my own, I said, the words quiet but resonating with absolute conviction. Even when no one I was supposed to rely on believed I should. After the cameras left and the main reception wound down, Sophia and I stood on the balcony overlooking the glittering city, the Eiffel Tower sparkling in the distance. Your story's been picked up by major networks back home, Sophia said, scrolling through updates. They're calling you the voice of a generation. Hashtags related to your speech are trending globally. And my family, I asked, not out of longing, but curiosity about the final act of their drama. Your aunt called the conservatory office asking for contact information, Sophia said, reading from her phone. Apparently, your parents are taking a break from church leadership and community roles to focus on family healing. And Scarlett lost her marketing internship, her social media influence, and her perfect daughter crown. Turns out karma doesn't take prayer requests, only receipts. Sophia handed me a glass of champagne, clinking it gently against mine. To the black sheep, she toasted. To freedom, I corrected her. To creativity, to resilience, and to never looking back. Below us, Paris glittered like a sea of possibilities, each light a future waiting to be painted. Somewhere in my hometown, my family was probably crafting their next narrative about their lost daughter, the one who chose art over family, ambition over contentment, 250,000 over them, but I wasn't lost. For the first time in my life, I was exactly where I was meant to be, a vibrant stroke of color on the world's canvas, and I was never going back to being small. The interview questions glowed on my laptop screen as I settled into my hotel suite in Geneva. I was here for a series of talks and workshops as part of the Global Arts Initiative. A major international magazine wanted my take on family dynamics, personal growth, and the role of art in social change. The usual thoughtful questions, until the last one caught my eye. Was revenge worth the cost of losing your family? Sophia lounged on the couch nearby, scrolling through our packed schedule. You don't have to answer that one, she said, sensing my pause. Actually, I do, I replied, beginning to type. Revenge implies I acted out of spite, that my primary motivation was to harm those who hurt me. I simply stopped accepting their version of love as the only version possible. I chose self-preservation and self-actualization over their need for control. The real question isn't whether revenge was worth it. It's whether freedom is worth the price of admission, the discomfort of those who tried to cage you, the inevitable backlash from those invested in keeping you small. My phone buzzed. Liam had sent another local news clip. My parents' church was reportedly splitting over differing interpretations of family values, and the pastor, who had once praised their parenting, had publicly questioned their methods in a sermon that had gone viral locally. Your mom tried joining a new church, Liam texted. They Googled her first. Apparently the sermon clip came up. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no regret, just a peaceful, quiet detachment, like watching a distant storm finally dissipate. Miss Evans, a knock at my door. The UN Secretary General moved up your meeting. Cars waiting downstairs. An aide stood there, respectful and efficient. Sophia grabbed her tablet, already reviewing the agenda, ready to change some policies on arts funding and cultural exchange. Almost, I said. I turned back to the interview questions on my screen, adding a final thought. Success isn't sweet revenge. It's proof that their limitations were never mine. Their small dreams were never my ceiling. Their fear was never my future. My art is my voice, and my life is my masterpiece in progress. I hit send, then walked to the window. Geneva's lights sparkled below, a tapestry of potential. Each light felt like a possibility, a future, a dream unbound by anyone's limitations but my own. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from an unknown number, the area code from my hometown. I saw your speech, and I saw your art online. It spoke to me. I'm leaving for art school next week. My parents said I couldn't, said it was stupid. But I saw how you did it. I got digital copies of my portfolio too. Thank you for showing me how. I smiled, a warmth spreading through me that no amount of money or recognition could replicate. Remembering that first taste of freedom on the train to Paris. Good luck, I typed back. The world is bigger than their fears. Go paint your masterpiece. Sophia appeared at my door again. Car's here, ready for your TED Talk. I grabbed my notes, catching my reflection in the mirror. No more shadows in my eyes, no more tension in my shoulders. Just strength, purpose, and the quiet, fierce confidence of someone who chose herself, who painted her own destiny. Ready, I said, stepping into the hallway, the weight of my history shedding with each step. Let's go help some more artists fly. Behind me, back in the suite, my phone lit up with another message from Scarlett. Whatever it said could wait. I had a future to build, a world to paint, and it was brighter, more vibrant, and more real than any past they'd tried to trap me in. This was the sweetest masterpiece of all.